many ways to describe the contents of a high school football season. Maybe the best would be that there are two parts to that season. Part number one would be the first 9 games of the year, while part number two would be just one game. Thanksgiving Day, where a big crowd and the anticipation of playing your rival is a big thrill in any high school football player's life.
It's a lot of fun. It's my last game. I don't think I'm going to play in college, so hope to enjoy it. Had a tough season, but I think I'll enjoy the last game of my life probably.
We've been looking forward to the game since we were freshmen, and coming into the game as seniors, we want to win the game bad.
To just have a good game. Hopefully everybody plays to their potential.
It's a lot of thrill. You know, it's the last game. It's the last game I'm ever gonna play in football, and you know, to play in front of like a lot of Weymouth people, it's really exciting.
There will be new thrills to experience as the 18th annual Thanksgiving Day North-South Football Classic kicks off next on Dimension 36. You're looking at Legion Field 24 hours prior to Thanksgiving Day football action. Well, we should say post-Thanksgiving Day football action, as the Maroons and the Wildcats for the 18th annual meeting had to be delayed a little bit, as the snows that came Thanksgiving morning changed the preparation for what is always a great day in high school football, Thanksgiving Day. Instead, the Classic being pushed back till Saturday afternoon. And this is what the field conditions look like prior. And also you have to look at the fact, too, that one extra day of practice for the two teams, as instead of having practice for that final game outdoors, indoors was more in order for the final practice for 1989. From Legion Field, Dimension 36 proudly presents high school football action as the Wildcats of Weymouth South and the Maroons of Weymouth North in their 18th annual meeting. As you look at 24 hours later, after the great work done by Arthur Chicasi's crew in getting this field ready for this contest. As you look at the Wildcats seniors being introduced for their final game here on Legion Field, as the Wildcats and the Maroons, no matter what the records, you got to throw out the fact that it doesn't mean anything. Once Thanksgiving arrives, you have what is really called the second season. Fun, excitement, as these teams really want to come at each other. The season is made if they beat the other. That is what they're hoping for today. As the Wildcat seniors being introduced to the crowd, you heard the voice of Bill Jackson in the background.
And the senior cheerleaders from Weymouth South, Pamela Brennan,
and now also the cheerleaders for Weymouth South,
Shannon Nealon, Stacy Smart,
being introduced for the final time as well, and rarely have they been introduced during the season.
And from Weymouth North, senior players, number 10, Tim Stevenson, number 14,
That's
Rich
Tim
Mirage.
Stevenson and the
Number
Maroons
25,
seniors
Jim Francis,
being
number
introduced for the
44,
final
Captain
time.
Jason Capella, number
Jimmy
42,
Francis,
Ed Norton,
Jason Capella, the
number
Maroons
51,
8-1,
Ed Keith,
the Wildcats 1-8.
number 52, Billy
But you know,
Murphy,
as I mentioned,
Number
throughout the
56,
records,
Matt
believe
Beatty.
me, these two teams want to
Number
make their
62,
season
Chris
today.
Ferrara.
It's a comment you can say
Number
over and over.
68, Brian
In a
Carr.
field like this, it all becomes a neutralizer, because the slippery conditions, you
Number
make
77,
one
Owen
particular
Gray.
run and trying to turn the corner,
Number
no
8,
matter if you're
Paul
Rich
Tuberville.
Mirage, Ronnie
Number
Fernandez,
83, Dave Layton.
anybody,
Number 85,
you turn that corner,
Steve
you might
Sowell.
hit wrong and you get out.
Number 86,
As Danny
Dan
Lindblom,
Lindblom.
the last Maroon senior to be introduced, as you see the Maroon
And
seniors,
the senior cheerleaders from Weymouth North. Gene Chevery,
as
Captain
a
Kathleen
good crowd
Cross,
considering the weather. It is
Renee
cool, about 40
Billy
degrees out,
Lane,
a
Stephanie
little bit
Parra,
of a wind,
Tricia
and
Wright,
it is overcast.
Donna Sharkey,
Now, prior to
and
the
Captain
game,
Maureen Snell.
I talked to both coaches about the fact of the second season to get their comments and what they feel the second season means for both Weymouth North and Weymouth South.
Well, there's a lot more emotion in this one particular game than probably any other, Mark. It is the second season. You have better part of 2 weeks to prepare for it. There's a lot of things that happen between banquets and interviews like this, and the kids really get to see a whole different side of football and realize that the game will probably be the easiest thing that they have to do in the next 2 weeks.
Well, we just plan on going all out for it and doing the best possible job we can. North has an outstanding football team. There's no question about that. We have an inexperienced team. We're just going to try and approach it with the best attitude and determination possible. That's about the best we can do at this situation, and just hope for the best.
For the players, it's an opportunity to perform in front of probably a sellout crowd, which is something that can be a great deal of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's my last game. I don't think I'm going to play in college, so hope to enjoy it. Had a tough season, but I think I'll enjoy the last game of my life probably.
Beaten South. I mean, every Thanksgiving since freshman we've played a good game against South. We came through with a win, but this year is a big one. It's going to be a lot of people there. We want to look good and beat them.
Being a senior, is it just that much more important?
Oh no, I mean, when I'm older I can always look back and think of how great Weymouth North was when I played and having such a great record, and it'd be good to end it off with a winning Thanksgiving game.
As for the season so far for Weymouth South and Weymouth North, they can be described as very different. Weymouth South has had to struggle during the '89 season, while Weymouth North has had a great deal of success.
Well, we've all played good this year. The defense has stuck out, and the offense has done real good. We had one tough game in Plymouth, but other than that game, we came together as a team, and we've been playing good the whole season.
Well, this season, although we didn't have a lot of good, we didn't have a lot of wins, but we had a lot of good games, like against Marshfield, which was really determined in the last minute of the game. I thought we played rather well on the line, and altogether, I think we played well in that game, especially. And I think also we played good against Silver Lake. I mean, we established a running game, and I think we came to play that game with a little determination, and we came out on top. And the bad points, I think, of this season, I think was probably against Hingham, because with the new defense and all, I don't think we played up to our potential that we should have played in that game.
Coaches may throw in their wrinkles as far as little bits of tricks that they can do to gain a little bit of an advantage in the Thanksgiving Day football game. But basically, what it comes down to as far as deciding a winner in a contest such as this will be how each team performs what they basically can do best.
It's going to be a game probably won in the trenches. Our offensive line has to raise itself to a level where we're blocking the best we've ever blocked. We got to work on our pass blocking and our, regular run blocking. We just got to start working a lot more than we have.
The defense has to come through, and Timmy has to have a good game. And the running game is going to be tough because it's a slick field.
That part about a Thanksgiving Day football game is the fact that it will be the last game for the seniors. What goes through the minds of the seniors as they get ready to play their last high school football game?
Just the good times and the bad times, and just thinking how much I'm going to miss playing high school football, and just look for the future.
Last game like this, it could be either making a last impression, just to prove that you did your best, which is basically what I'm going to do because I ain't going any further with football. It'll probably be just to prove that I'm as good a football player as I can be, and to prove that I'm a good captain. This is what I'm going to try and do.
Overcast and cloudy here at Legion Field as we're about set to go. An interesting set of circumstances as far as the kickoff went, in that Weymouth North won the toss. They elected to defer to the second half, but Weymouth South has decided they want to play defense first. And they will kick off, as you see, number 13, Bobby Layton, to kick off for the Wildcats. And back deep for the Maroons will be Rich Mraz and Keith Strazzeri. As it is overcast, the sun was out during pre-game warm-ups, but right now it has become overcast and a little bit of a wind here at Legion Field, as not a bad crowd considering here at Legion Field when you have the holiday shopping and everything going. As Weymouth North, Weymouth South for the 18th time. North leads the series 9-6-2 is the record for Weymouth North in the series as Layton gets the whistle. Thanksgiving Day 89, post-Thanksgiving Day 89, we'll start with Lou Henriksen. Sliding down at the 22.
Run back.
As Henriksen tried to turn the corner and could not. And Henriksen goes down at the 22.
Sean Gallery.
As Sean Gallery will get credit for the tackle.
Downs on their own 22-yard line. First and 10.
And the Maroon explosive offense that you've seen throughout the years, let's meet them individually. The Weymouth North offense lines up this way. Quarterback Tim Stevenson, 7 touchdown passes this year. Running back Rich Mraz, 838 yards rushing. He also leads Division II in scoring. His backfield mates, Chuck Montorio, a junior, 10 pass receptions this year. He's caught a touchdown pass. Lou Henriksen, an excellent blocker. He has not lost a yard rushing this year. Wide receiver Dan Lindblom leads the Maroons in pass receptions. He has caught 5 TD passes. Wide receiver Ed Norton has also had a very strong year in complementing Lindblom. The offensive line is anchored by senior center Billy Murphy, while the guards are Chris Ferrara, an excellent blocker. Junior Ted Murch got the starting nod in the opening game, and he hasn't been pushed out of the lineup since. Senior tackle Owen Graves, a very steady and strong and capable performer, as is senior John Serafini. Wide receiver Dan Daly will be counted on to shuffle in the plays, and Steve Soule is expected to see some action as well. First down, straight ahead to about the 25-yard line goes Lou Henriksen.
Lou
Al
Henriksen
Metcalf
on the carry, brought down
and
by
Todd Cusick
Metcalf.
bring him down.
Gain of about 2.
As Henriksen gets it to about the 25, second down and 7 for the Maroons as the Wildcat defense you see on your screen. Todd Cusick having an outstanding season as a linebacker for the Wildcats. Straight ahead
Strazzeri on
is
the
Keith
carry.
Strazzeri as the sophomore running back gets it across the 30 to the 31. It'll be a yard short.
Al Metcalf made the tackle.
It'll be third down and
Brings up
1
3rd and 1.
for the Maroons, who will probably keep it on the ground as much as possible to begin the game and test the field conditions and see what they are like. Then we'll change as it goes along. Henriksen, dive play, and from appearances has the first down.
Henriksen brought down by DeCoste.
As John DeCoste
Very close.
brought down
Like the
Lou
referee
Henriksen.
is
They
going
want
to
to measure.
measure. Official timeout.
As the Maroons just going straight ahead at the Wildcats with the first 3 plays. To turn the corner on this type of field is not going to be an easy situation. The outer fringes and Arthur Chikasi's crew did an outstanding job in trying to put this field together. As a first down.
First down.
With plenty to spare, but to turn the corner is going to be an adventure in this game for any running back. So you're going to see a lot of between the tackle type play with these two teams in this game. Strazzeri turns the corner. 40 to the 45. Strazzeri knocked down there.
Brought down by Gabriel.
As Steve Gabriel with the tackle, but Keith Strazzeri does get the first down. Out to the 46-yard line.
About 13 yards on the play.
And so far the Maroons not going to their leading running back rusher, Rich Moraz. Moraz yet to run the football. As Moraz, who have been on crutches for a few days after the Marshfield game because of an ankle injury, gets his first carry. Rich gets it to the 49 of Weymouth South for 5.
John DeCoste.
As Alan Good, along with Keith Williams, bring him down. Now the Wildcat
Keith
defense
Williams in on that tackle.
during the season has been susceptible to the rush.
Ball's on the 50-yard line.
Teams have rushed at 5 yards a clip against the Wildcats, and this is something that they want to stop right here. As Strazzeri gets tripped up at the line of scrimmage by John DeCoste.
Strazzeri on the carry, brought down by Todd Cusick.
As a yard for Strazzeri, and it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Maroons.
3rd down. Ball on the 48-yard line of Weymouth South.
And we'll see if Tim Stevenson goes to the air for the first time. Stevenson trying to get away from Metcalf. And Metcalf pursued, allowed Joe Broderick to bring him down. Back at the Maroon 48. As Stevenson cut down, and the Maroons lose 3, and it will be 4th down and 7. As the Wildcat defense, with good pursuit, Al Metcalf and Joe Broderick. Stevenson the punt, and back deep Alan Good. And Timmy Chess gets it away. Good gets away from it as Daley Norton walked by it, and it'll be touched down by Chris Ferrara at the 10-yard line, and that's where Weymouth South will start for their first possession.
And
but
the
good
ball will be
pursuit
put
up the
into
middle.
play on the Weymouth South 10-yard line.
And the Wildcats, offensively, individually, let's meet the starting lineup for Coach Bart Weber's team. The Wildcat quarterback is sophomore J.J. Chella, getting better as a runner each and every week. He has 2 touchdown passes on the season. Running back Ron Fernandez leads the Wildcats in scoring and in rushing. Running back Chad Moore also doubles as the punter. An excellent blocking back, as is fullback Keith Williams, who has been running the ball much better as the season progresses. Wide receiver Bob Layton, second on the team in pass receptions. Matt Deneen, a very steady, sure-handed receiver, will alternate with Layton. Tight end Todd Cusick leads the Wildcats in pass receptions. The other tight end is a blocking tight end, junior John Brown, who has been moved from tackle to tight end. Center, Rob Herrick, getting better and better each and every week. As for the guards, senior tri-captain Sean St. Pierre will be the right guard, while the left guard will be senior tri-captain Al Metcalf. The tackles, senior Tommy Melanson and senior John DeCoste round out the offensive line for Coach Bart Weber. From the 10, first down, Wildcats with their first possession. They go with Fernandez. And Ronnie,
Fernandez on the carry.
with good yardage out to the 15, where he is brought down on the play by Sean Small.
Brian
along with
Quinlan
Alex
in on the tackle,
Probos,
along with Eddie Norton.
as the Maroon defense that will try to slow down the
Game of
Wildcats.
6. It's 2nd and 4.
And the linebackers Alex Provost, Lou Hendrickson have had outstanding seasons. From the power eye, Fernandez again, and Ronnie close to first down yardage. It's Tim Stevenson.
Fernandez on the carry. Tackle by Lou
Who's pushing
Hendrickson.
the lineup will get the tackle along with Lou Hendrickson.
Shot of the first down.
The Maroon defense having to be changed around a little bit, as Rich
First down.
Faraz will only play on one side of the ball and only play defensive safety if needed. As Fernandez with 2 runs
Ball is on the 20-yard line.
gets it from the 10 to the 20-yard line. First down, Wildcats. Anchella, keeper. Stevenson holds him loose. Football goes out of bounds, but a wicked
Keller on
hit
the carry.
on the play.
Knocked down.
Stevenson
By Alex Provost.
grabbed him, and then Alex Provost came by and almost decapitated Chella. And the ball gets knocked away from Chella.
Second coming up.
As a gain of 2 for Chella. Second down and 8 for the Wildcats. As Chella took the first hard hit of the game.
Second and 6.
Fernandez, not the success
Fernandez on the
that he has
carry,
had
brought down by
prior.
Sean Small.
As Sean Small,
No gain on the
and
play, a
Sean
loss of the yard or so.
Tardiglione in on the tackle, and it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Ball is on the 23-yard line of Weymouth South.
So the Wildcats, with their first 3rd and long situation, we'll see how they react to it. As they stay in the power I formation, Chella throws out of it to Cusick. Stevenson there along with Hendrickson after a
Cusick on the
short
reception,
game.
brought down by Timmy Stevenson.
As Todd Cusick, the leading Wildcat
Brings up a
receiver,
first down.
this year hauls in a very short gain, 2 yards, and the Wildcats to punt on 4th down with 4:37 to go here in the first period. So both teams testing the field conditions with the running game. And Chad Moore, 31 yards per
Moore
punt.
ready to punt. Back deep is Druzeri and Stevenson.
And Moore rides out a good kick. Stevenson trying to turn around and get away from Regan, and does, and then gets undercut by
Stevenson
Joe
on the
Broderick.
back, brought down by Broderick.
As Joe Broderick, who snaps on,
play on the
Kicking
37-yard line of Weymouth
comes
North.
down and makes the tackle on Stevenson. And the Maroons will start at their 38-yard line. So Weymouth North with the better of the field position so far. But 4:05 to go first period, no score. Strazzeri on the sweep. Hendrickson tries to lead, but
Strazzeri
Alan
on
Good won't
carry.
let him. Good comes up
Alan Good made the tackle. A loss on the
as
play.
he led the tackling of Keith Strazzeri
We'll make it second and
for a loss
12.
of 2. Second down and 12 as the Wildcats defense has just come out ready so far in this game. And it's Joe Viola also helping out Alan Good. We talked about that second season point. And believe me, it will be there as Stevenson will keep instead. Dives ahead as the quick
Stevenson
punt
on the
pass was
keep.
not there.
Brought down by John
As
DeCoste.
Sean DeCoste grabbed him by the ankles and brings him down. And it'll be 3rd down and 10 as Stevenson get back the yards that Strazzeri lost. With a running type game, it'll be a very quick type game.
3rd and 10.
Stevenson slides away from Williams. Is it intercepted? Chella intercepts it.
Pass was intercepted by J.J. Chella.
J.J. Chella on the interception. And the Wildcats will have it at the Maroon 48-yard line. As Stevenson was just trying to get the football out of bounds, but he did not. He was short on the throw, and J.J. Chella stepped in and made the interception. So the Wildcats on the first turnover of the game. And if you look at the plus-minus part of the turnover ratio this year, it favors the Maroons heavily. As Chella, quick pass, that is complete to Chad Moore for about
Pass
4.
complete to Moore.
David Layton in on the
Polos
stop.
in on the tackle. David Layton on the tackle.
As Chella, 2 for 2 so far last Thanksgiving, 9 for 13 against Weymouth North. His first
Second and
pass
5.
was a touchdown pass to Jimmy O'Connor. Fernandez slips and trying to get the handoff, and he will be corralled
Fernandez on
after
the
about a
carry.
yard or 2.
Stopped by
As John
Tordiglione.
Tordiglione and Darren Gladstone in on the stop.
It'll be 3rd and about 4.
As Fernandez with 1/3 and
Ball is on the 40-yard line of
4 to
Weymouth
go,
North.
as the Wildcats will have to make it to the 36. And last time in this situation, J.J. Chella tried the quick pass over the middle. As the crowd's still filing in. The Wildcats go to the ground. Fernandez nowhere. As Chris Ferraro,
Fernandez on the carry. He
who's
was
had an
brought down by
exceptional
Chris
season at
Ferrara.
defensive end, makes the stop. As Fernandez with no gain, 4th down and 4. And we'll see if what the Wildcats try to do in this 4th and 4 situation. They will talk about it. An interesting call coming up for the Wildcats. No score in the game, 59 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. The Wildcats have thought about it. They will punt. And Chad
Moore back to
Moore,
punt. Moraz and Gladstone back to receive.
figuring to pin the Maroons in, if he could put it
Gonna go
into the corner, and Gladstone
into the end zone.
lets it go
for a
into the end
touchdown.
zone. So Chad Moore,
And the ball will be moved out to the 20-yard line.
in a couple of games this year, has had good success hitting the ball inside the 20. And this time he is unable to. So far, the best movement of the football was the Maroons' first possession, as Weymouth North moved the football about 30 yards and then had to settle for the punt as Moraz
Moraz on the carry.
bangs ahead for a couple of yards. Danny Dirksmeyer is there to
Yes,
knock
Brad
down
made the
Rich
tackle.
Moraz.
Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Rich in net yards gain running the football this year has 838. He also leads Division II in scoring. Strazzeri, Moraz gives him a good block. Strazzeri
Strazzeri
turns the corner
run
and
out of
goes
bounds
face
by
first
Jack
into the
Cusick.
snow with the help of Joe Broderick, as a pair of 21s
It'll bring up
crashing
a
into
3rd
each other.
down, 3rd and 5.
What could be the final play of the first quarter. 9
Ball being
seconds to
placed on the
go.
25-yard line.
And we'll see if the Maroons do get that final play off. 3, 2, and it does not look like they will.
And that ends the first quarter.
So far, it has just been run-at-you football because of the field conditions. Both teams trying to understand what is in store for them on this field, which has been nicely fixed for this Thanksgiving Day game. No score after 1. We have some special highlights for you. A look back at the 1980 Thanksgiving Day game, one of the more interesting ones. In the history of the Weymouth North, Weymouth South rivalry, there is a lot of talk. Which was the most exciting game? Well, 1980 sure will get a lot of votes. Very first play of the game, Steve Lee turns the corner and takes off. 71 yards in all for the touchdown, as Lee would begin a magnificent final high school football game for himself. As the Maroons go for the two-point conversion, we have a little bit of controversy. Quarterback Jim Dempsey finds an open Paul Cavallo. Is this a catch? The official says it is a catch. 8-0 in favor of Weymouth North. But the Wildcats come right back with some magnificent offense of their own. Brian Litchfield, who had an outstanding game as well. Litchfield would run through the Maroons, as would Lee run through the Wildcats. But it would be Brian Milano that would get the first touchdown for the Wildcats, as Milano on this short burst brings the Wildcats to within 2. Later in the first period, quarterback Rob Lyons calls his own number right up the middle. Lyons goes, and the junior brings the Wildcats into a 12-8 lead that would add the two-point conversion. It would look like Weymouth South would blow this game open, but Steve Lee personally stops Weymouth South. Here, grabbing Brian Litchfield on this 4th and goal play. And it would be Lee that would bring the Maroons back into a 14-all tie with this fantastic 86-yard run. As Lee, who holds the individual rushing record for a Weymouth North Weymouth South game, 24 carries, 291 yards, enables the Maroons to pull out a 14-all tie, one of the 2 ties in the rivalry between the 2 schools.
Every year, thousands of babies die from choking, suffocating, or other breathing emergencies. Just imagine how many of them could be saved if only they came with instructions. Please learn American Red Cross Infant and Child CPR. American Red Cross. We help you help others.
Second quarter begins with a 3rd and 5 situation for Weymouth North, and a fumbled football, and Weymouth South has got it.
By Weymouth South. Birchmeyer comes up with the ball.
Danny Rixmeyer comes up with
First
the
break of the
football,
game.
and the
And it goes to
Wildcats will
Weymouth
have it
South.
at the Maroon 25.
They'll take over 1st and
As
10
the
on
handoff
the
never
Weymouth North
was
25-yard line.
As Rich Moroz never had it in his hands, and the Maroons, who do not turn it over much, have turned it over twice so far. And the Wildcats will go to the air. Cella running out of time and comes up short to Bobby Layton.
Incomplete to Layton. Brings up a 2nd down, 2nd
The
and 10.
Wildcats were looking to
Ball
make
on the
it happen
25.
on the first play after the fumbled recovery. Second and 10. Fernandez tries to slice off tackle and will not have the success. Eddie Norton comes up along with Lou Hendrickson to bring down
Fernandez on the carry.
Fernandez.
Knocked down by Stevenson.
As the Maroon defense had that play scouted out, and it's a loss of 3 for Fernandez, 3rd and 13.
Teddy Keith in on that tackle also.
As far as wind goes, it is basically blowing from the press box across to the visitor side of the field. Cella, quick drop, and headed his pass, nearly intercepted by Darren Gladstone as he was looking to complete it
Pass
over the
goes
middle to
incomplete
Bobby
to Layton.
Layton. But
It'll
Darren
bring up a
Gladstone
fourth
just
down.
tipping it away. And it'll be 4th down, and the Maroon defense trying to slow down a potential Wildcat threat. Really the first threat as far as field position goes in this game, in that the Maroons have got as far as the Wildcat 45. As Broderick, now joined by John Brown. Cella, airing it deep. Oh, intercepted.
We have
And
a
a flag
on the
down
play.
on the play. Darren Gladstone on the interception. And we have markers down at the line of scrimmage. And we'll see what the penalty situation is. And if it's against the Wildcats, a motion on the Wildcats, that started at the play's beginning. Clipping on the return on the Maroons, so the Maroons will have the football, but it's where they're
We had
going
a
to
motion
have it.
penalty called against South and a clip called against North.
It's the sun trying to make its way through the heavy overcast. The Maroons declining the penalty.
And North will take over, 1st and 10 on their own 10-yard line.
So far, turnovers. The Wildcats with 1, the Maroons with 2, and the Maroons have a plus 22 ratio coming into this game. The Wildcats are minus 13. It's Mirage on the sweep.
Pause on the carry.
Rich gets it out to the
Brought
16.
down by Allen Good.
As Allen Good fought up his block and made the tackle.
Second and 4.
As Mirage with 6, 2nd down and 4.
Ball on the 16-yard line of Weymouth North.
As the Wildcats have done the job against the Maroons running game so far. Strazzeri, who's seen a lot of action
Strazzeri
so
on the
far.
carry.
Keith gets it out to about the 21-yard line, and that should be a 1st down.
Joe Viola tripped up
As
Mr. Struzzieri on that
Strazzeri
play.
does get the 1st down. As Strazzeri
1st down.
has had an excellent season running the football, the sophomore averaging nearly 8 yards a carry. And people talk about the success of Mirage during the season, but you have backs that back up Mirage like a Chuck Montorio, a Keith Strazzeri, and a Darren Gladstone. You have a tandem of good runners. As Mirage slipped on the play, Stevenson makes the best of the situation.
Stevenson on the keep. Brought down
Getting
by
about
DeCoste.
2 yards on the play, as Joe Viola brings him down. Second and 8.
Gain of 3, we'll call it 2nd and 7.
And that type of slipping makes the field such an equalizer. That type of situation right there. Stevenson gets a good block on the option as he turns the corner. And Timmy
Stevenson
gets
on the
it out
keep.
to the 29-yard line.
Cusick pushed him out of bounds. It'll be close
As
to the
Allen
1st
Good
down.
got wiped out on the play. As Stevenson turned the corner, he got a great block. And was
Like
able
3rd and about a yard to go for
to
the
turn
1st
it
down.
upfield
Ball
for
on the
nearly
29
first down
yard line
yardage
of
as he
Weymouth
got
North.
7 on the play. 3rd and a long 1. As Henriksen will get the 1st down. Cusick brings down Henriksen, but Lou,
Henriksen on the carry, brought down by
during
Viola.
the season,
But it was enough for the 1st down.
has not lost a yard rushing the football. He's had a couple of times where he's had no gain. But he's primarily a blocking back as Stevenson slips and falls and fumbles. And Weymouth North will get it. As Teddy
Fumble on the
Birch
play,
and
regained by
Timmy
Weymouth
Stevenson
North.
were both there. But the type of footing
Loss.
that it will become as this game goes on, you get an indication as Stevenson,
Loss on the
Coming
play of
out.
about 10 yards. Allen Good was in on that tackle.
and basically in looking
We
back
have 2nd and 20
at the play when he lost yardage
from the
prior was a running
22-yard
play,
line.
but
Murphy leads
attempting
his
the
team up out of the
pass
huddle.
It is the first time that Stevenson has been sacked this year. And Stevenson, the dump off. Baraz can't hang on as Rich
Pass goes
on the
incomplete to
swing had a
Baraz.
complete avenue to go upfield. And it'll be third down and 20 for the Maroons with 5:34 to go here in the first half. At halftime, we will have the Weymouth North Band and dance team performing for you. And the Wildcat Band was not on the field prior to the game. It'll be as Stevenson slips and falls, goes down. Cusick will get credit for the tackle, but twice on the series, Timmy Stevenson does slip and fall. And the Maroons, who get it out to their 31-yard line, will have to kick. As Stevenson, with those slips, lost yardage back to the 18. So apparently we're going to have a battle in
Fourth
the
and
defense.
25. Stevenson set the kick.
And breaks as Stevenson has a block by Cusick. Cusick came in at the middle and falls on it at the 3.
Block that kick. Recovers the ball. And South will take over 1st and 10 on the Weymouth North 3-yard line.
Todd Cusick just came up the middle and just
Cusick
put
gets in
his
to
hands
block
on
the
the
kick.
football. And Stevenson had no chance. And the Wildcats, who had the interception by Cello where they nearly scored on, but couldn't move the football, now have an even better opportunity. 1st and goal at the 4. As Fernandez, the deep back in the power I. Fernandez stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Fernandez on the carry.
Sean Small and Chris Ferrara.
Sean Small made the initial hit.
And the Maroon defense, with 4:38 to go here in the first half, will have to come up with a big play.
Loss of about a yard. It's 2nd and 6. Check that, 2nd and 4.
So a team that has had a huge plus turnover ratio has had 3 here in the first half. Cella. Nowhere to go, and Cella will be wrapped up back at the 8.
Cella on the carry.
Small.
Hit initially
Tordiglione, Keith.
by Tordiglione.
All there as
Another
they
loss on the play.
made sure that Cello was going nowhere, and now the Wildcats will take the
Weymouth
timeout.
South.
With 4 minutes to go here in the first half, the Wildcats threatening with no score in the game. Anybody who thought
3rd down. 8
that this is
yards out
going to
from
be
the
a
goal line.
cakewalk, you look at the records. Well, so far,
Back up over
the
the back.
Wildcats have come out and issued a statement. No score, 3rd and goal. Cella on the roll. Almost intercepted by Tim Stevenson as he knocked it away from Chad Moore.
4th down.
And now the consideration for the Wildcats. Do you go for the
We have a
touchdown
flag
or do
on
you
the
go
play.
for the field goal attempt? But we do have a marker down. And they discuss it with Jason Capello, the Maroon defensive captain. Holding Weymouth South.
Holding against Weymouth South.
And this will change situation because the Maroons will take the penalty and force the Wildcats back. Make it a longer distance for them to go.
Puts the ball out on the 18-yard line. 3rd
Instead
down.
of 3rd and goal, or 4th and goal, it would have been from the 8. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 18. Spread formation as Broderick, the lone back, goes in motion. And Cella to throw with the pressure down and a marker down. Almost
We have another
intercepted
flag on the play. The pass went incomplete
as
Broke it up.
Lou Hendrickson
by Lou Hendrickson.
knocked
But
it
we have
down,
a
but a
flag.
marker down on the play, and it's on Weymouth South.
Procedure penalty
And
against
it's an illegal
Weymouth South.
procedure
Back
penalty.
wheel in motion.
And the Maroons will decline the penalty.
Declined.
And you look at the Maroon defense, that if they can slow
Fourth
down
down,
the
the
Wildcat
ball on
threat,
the 18-yard line.
would have twice here in the first half made life a little miserable for the Wildcats as they change up. And see what the Wildcats are attempting to do. They will go to Bobby Layton for what will be a 36-yard attempt with a hold of Mike Regan. Layton's kick. It's good!
And it's good. Bobby Layton puts it through the uprights for 3 points.
Bobby Layton
And
just
takes the
getting
lead
it.
at 3-0.
as it just kicked
With
on.
3:43 left
Dying
to
as
play
it
in the
made it
first half.
over the goalpost, and the Wildcats go backwards on that block kick by Todd Cusick, but still come up with 3 points. Nothing can be said wrong for the Maroon defense so far. They have done the job as they force the Wildcats to go backwards. But the Wildcats, Bobby Layton, who had not connected on a field goal this year, connects from 36 yards out, and the Wildcats are on the board first, 3-0. As they get something out of it, and they have got to feel sky high with 3:43 to go in the first half. Coach Joe Kelly, when you talk to him, always made the point to say that this, no matter the records, it was going to be a tough football game. Strazzeri on the kickoff gets belted by Alan Good at the 28.
Strazzeri on the
Marker
run back,
down.
brought down by Alan Good.
And the Maroons may have
And we have a flag on the play.
put themselves with field position. And they have, clipping Weymouth North. And the Maroons right now have made a lot of mistakes, and the
We have
Wildcats
a clipping penalty called against
are
Weymouth
trying to
North.
make them pay for those mistakes they have with the
Move the
field
ball
goal.
back to the 14-yard line.
3-0 Weymouth South, 3:39 to go here in the first half. Strazzeri straight ahead, nowhere. John DeCoste is there to stop Keith Strazzeri. And a marker
Strazzeri on the
down
carry.
on the play as well.
The coast made the tackle, but we have another flag on the play.
And it's pointing Weymouth North's way. Personal foul, Weymouth North. And the Maroons are becoming unglued at the present time. And Tim Stevenson wants to take a timeout and figure out what his team has got to do to
Timeout, Weymouth
rebound
North.
from what has been a very strange first half for them. They have turned the ball over 3 times and trailed 3-0 to Weymouth South. So far, the game has belonged to the Wildcat defense, which has come ready to play. 1st and 15. Mirage trying to turn the corner. Rich gets about 6.
Mirage on the
As
carry.
Joe
brought down by Viola.
Along with J.J. Chella in on the stop.
Gain of about 7 on the play. We have 3rd and 11.
And it'll be 3rd and 11. As Strazzeri, with the 1 run prior, as the personal foul was a dead ball penalty. Stevenson pitch back Mirage, trying to get away from Good. He will not. Allen Good
Brought down for a loss.
is there to
By
bring
Allen
down
Good.
Rich Mirage. And a loss of 2 on the play. 4th down. And a face mask
They have
penalty.
a face mask
So
penalty
the
called
penalty
against
play
Weymouth South.
will give the Maroons a big break. As Allen Good in bringing down Rich Mirage a little too eager. It will mark it down to the 17. So instead of a 4th down and 12 situation, it'll be 3rd and
Will boost the
about
ball
7.
to the 17-yard line, 3rd and 7, with 2:41 left to play in this half.
Mirage trying to get away from Good. Allen will not let him as Chiller brings him down along
Gladstone brought down
with
by
Good, as
Mr.
Darren
Alan Good.
Gladstone was the ball carrier.
Shot gain on the play.
And now
It'll be 4th
timeout
and
Wildcats with 2:18 to go in the first
Timeout
half.
Weymouth South.
And we'll take a look back at a Thanksgiving Day game, which on Dimension 36 was our first. MLK hits a line drive. That Waith fields at his own 15. Waith sidesteps. He's got some room. Michael Waith needs one block. He gets it. Michael Waith is going to go 85 yards for the touchdown. Staples just stray back. In trouble, throws. Incomplete, and now deflected and caught. And one look. And then let's see who that is. He'll go all the way for the touchdown. Down. Mike Ferrante got the deflection. It goes all the way for the touchdown. 2:18 to go in the first half. Allen Good awaits the kick, or
Allen Good and
for a
Chella
second, the way
back
Timmy
deep to receive
Stevenson,
this punt.
as Stevenson has already had one blocked. And the Wildcats do not come as Stevenson rides out a high kick. Good. Straight up the middle, fumbles. Weymouth North comes out of the pack. Owen Graves has it.
Looks like Danny Daly recovered that fumble.
Owen Graves came up and had the football in his hands, and they said the Maroons do have it.
On their own 43-yard line.
So the Wildcats, who had an opportunity to add to the 3-0 lead with some great field position, instead it'll be the Maroons football with 2:08 to go. As Stevenson, complete. Strazieri to the 45.
On the reception.
And a marker will come down from way downfield. And I believe a face mask is when Strazieri was brought down. He was grabbed by the face mask, and Coach Bart Weber, top of camera view, was not happy.
Face mask penalty called against South. Moves the ball down to the 40-yard line. First
As the
down.
Wildcat coaches are contending
1:59 left to play in the half.
that the official nearer to the play should have made the call, but the call was made from downfield. And then a first down for the Maroons is Stevenson. Completes it to Danny Lindblom. And Danny Lindblom brought down at the 30. And he will be short, or check where they
Lindblom.
marked it.
On the reception.
As for the field position, Stevenson has come out
Brought down
firing.
by Brown. The
And they
officials
want to measure.
timeout.
as they will measure. Danny Lindblom apparently had the first down, but in trying to add more yardage, came back and lost about a couple of feet. And we'll see if it costs him with 1:39 left. First down, Weymouth North. So the Maroons down 3-0 with 1:39 to go here in the first half. They get a fumble recovery at their own 43 and look to take advantage of it. As with two quick Tim Stevenson passes, they have moved it down to the Wildcat 30. Stevenson. Intercepted. Danny Dirksmeyer. As Dirksmeyer on the coverage.
On the interception.
Intercepts the pass as Stevenson
steps in and grabs that ball away from Weymouth North.
tried to force it in, and Dirksmeyer was there to make the interception. And the Wildcats stopped the Maroon threat with 1:19 left.
So South will take over on their own 19-yard line with 1:19 left in the half.
And we'll see what the Wildcat approach is for the final minute 19. Fernandez gets about a
Fernandez
yard.
on the carry.
1:10 to go.
Matt Deedy made that tackle. Gain of
That's the
about
Maroon
2.
defense.
2nd and 8.
Not calling the timeout. Was not sure if the approach would be taken to slow the Wildcats. If they slow the Wildcats down, Weymouth North, that use the timeouts and make Weymouth South punt it away. Fernandez bounces straight ahead.
Fernandez punches it up the middle.
And now a timeout signaled. Weymouth North with 37 seconds left.
Matt Deedy
3-0.
in on the initial hit.
South with the lead as the Wildcats, Bobby Layton, a 36-yard field
Timeout
goal.
called by
And
South.
that is it
With
for scoring so far here in the
37
first
seconds
half.
left to play.
37 seconds left, 3rd and 5 for the Wildcats. And they go to the ground, and Fernandez trying to turn the corner. Ronnie cannot, and the Maroons will take the timeout.
Fernandez on the carry.
As the Maroons take the timeout with 31
Mike
seconds
Ramos
left.
made the tackle. And timeout North.
As the Maroons will hold on
We have
right
a
here.
4th down. 3 yards to go for the
And the
first
question
down.
she can
31
raise.
seconds left to play.
Will there be a rush of the punter? A heavy rush, go for the block, or set up for the return? Wildcats have rushed
Ball is
once,
on the 28-yard line.
and it paid off. As on that rush of the punter, Ty Cusick with a block punt, it set up the Bobby Layton field goal. And Chad Moore has had a punt block this year. And the Maroons are coming. And Moore rides out the kick. Moraz on the run. Rich, flipping,
Mirage
will bring the ball back.
on the carry, but we have a flag
And they'll
on the
say
play.
that Timmy Stevenson's block was illegal. As Moraz got it to the Wildcat 39, and the Maroons will lose that field position. So with 22 seconds left, the Maroons,
Flipping called against Weymouth
who would have
North.
had great field position, the Wildcat 40, will now have it back at about their own 40. As so far, special teams and turnovers, the story in this one. The Maroons special teams haven't really had a chance to perform a great deal, and when they did perform, they had a punt blocked. Reverse, Strazzeri. Strazzeri to the 48.
Brought down by Joe Broderick.
As Broderick brings him down.
Timeout, Weymouth
And
North.
the Maroons will call a timeout with 12 seconds left. Stevenson trying to keep his balance. Timmy goes down. Back at the 38. And that will probably be the first half.
So goes the
As the
half.
Wildcats will go off the field. Special teams and turnovers have gotten them a 3-0 lead. And hold on, we may not be going off the field. 2 seconds. And the Maroon fans give the Wildcat players who are jumping up and down all sorts of harassment. Saying, hold on, guys, you still have another play here to run. So there'll be 2 seconds left.
Okay, 2 seconds left.
And one more play, unless we have a defensive penalty. Pitch is fumbled by Mraz, and that will be the first half, no matter what. And it ends the way it should end, because the Maroons have turned it over as John Brown falls on it for the 5th time in the first half. The Wildcats have turned it over twice, and those turnovers are the difference in the ball game. 3-0 in favor of Weymouth South. A Bobby Layton 36-yard field goal, the difference. Halftime highlights coming in, halftime entertainment coming up, a difference on Thanksgiving Day football on Dimension 36, so stay with us. With a halftime lead as the Wildcats taking it to the Maroons, and really the story of the game, turnovers. The Maroons have turned it over 5 times in the first half. The last play was a turnover on the Maroons as John Brown recovered the fumble. And we'll see how the Maroons approach the second half, as that was their option. And Bobby Layton, the kickoff for the Wildcats. Rich Mraz and Keith Strazzeri await the kick. The Maroon defense has played extremely well, but the offense has been unable to move because the Wildcat defense has been just as outstanding. In fact, in some ways more outstanding because of their ability to force the turnovers. 3-0. Bobby Layton for the final half of 1989 to get us underway. And a short kick. Henriksen gets spilled at about the 30. And that is where the Maroons will start as they started the opening of the game
brought
there.
Down by Alan Good.
A defensive battle.
North will
You talk about the field
of
position.
downs from their own 31-yard line.
Becomes important in a game like this, and the field conditions. And so far, they have neutralized this game as Strazzeri cuts back. Heath spins his way out to the 39.
Brought down by
Gabriel
Alan
and Good bring him down there as Strazzeri kept the run up nicely. He was about the most effective runner for either team in the first half, as Keith able to run the football extremely well. Second and a long one. And a first down run, depending on where they mark it. It appeared that Rich Mraz did get the first down.
Strazzeri on the
Checking
carry, brought
Strazzeri
down by
again.
DeCoste.
As John DeCoste.
And Alan Good in on the tackle.
Brought him down, and it is a first down.
We
Let's
have
see
enough
how
for the first
Strazzeri
down.
did get it to the 42-yard line as Strazzeri, the healthiest of the Maroon backs, gets the call again. Shaziri gets whacked by John Brown.
Shaziri on the carry.
As he tried to turn the corner, Brown knocked him down with a marker down on
We
the
have a flag
play.
on the play.
And let's see what the marker brings. It's holding Weymouth North. And the signal from the Wildcat bench is to take it.
Holding against Weymouth North.
So the Maroons,
John Brown made the tackle on that play.
with 9:02 to go here in the third quarter, begin the second half, hurting themselves after getting some runs from Shaziri for a first down. Holding Weymouth North. It'll be first down as the Maroons will be starting from their 34-yard line.
First down, 20 yards to go for the first down.
And the Maroons will need 18 yards for a first down because the holding happened at the 44, and you get an indication of the field conditions. Stevenson just could not get rid of the football, and he is sacked. Todd Cusick blitzing through.
Stevenson
Brought him down.
by Cusick and Dirksmeyer for a loss on the play.
As Cusick with the sack, the Wildcat defense.
Second down and 25.
Let us meet them individually for this year.
The Weymouth South defense lines up this way. Senior defensive tackle Sean Gallery's had a very good year. John DeCoste will also start at defensive tackle. He will alternate with Al Metcalf as a defensive tackle on the front four for Weymouth South, which will be joined by Dennis Grady, who has a couple of fumble recoveries this year. The other defensive end will be John Brown, who has been a steady performer. He'll alternate with Mike Harkins, who has come on in the second half of the year. The linebackers, one of the best hitters on the Wildcat defense, outside linebacker Alan Good. The other outside linebacker is sophomore Kevin Shaw, who started the second half of the season. Inside linebacker Chad Moore, a very steady performer. The Wildcats' key on defense, inside linebacker Todd Cusick, averaging 10 tackles per game. Joe Viola will alternate as well as a linebacker for the Wildcats. Danny Dirksmeyer will see some action, as will Doug McDonald at linebacker. In the defensive backfield, cornerback J.J. Chella had an interception against Silver Lake. Joe Broderick, who has had 2 interceptions during the season. And the safety will be Steve Gabriel. Getting some action in the defensive backfield will be Mike Regan as well. The senior has been a steady performer, and Bill Bertolino will also get some action.
Straight ahead will be Lou Henriksen.
Henriksen on the carry,
As
brought down by Viola.
Gets it out to the 37 for about
And Gabriel
6,
in on that tackle.
And about
Brings up
15.
a third down. Ball on the 42-yard line.
And right now this field becoming more of a skating surface as this game continues. The cold and the field conditions being chewed up. And Stevenson comes up
Pass
short.
is incomplete to
It was either
Mirage.
Lindblom or Mraz he was going for, and both were open, and Stevenson just came up short on the pass. As Shaziri had some good runs to begin the second half, but the Maroons, a holding penalty hurts them. They will kick. Stevenson to punt. And Timmy rides out a kick that will go on the line in a few bounces. Dead at the 31 as it goes out of bounds there.
And the
Wildcats will get their first possession of the
line.
second half. 3-0 if you just joined us. Weymouth South's Bobby Layton, a 36-yard field goal. That has been it.
We have a winner on the 50-50 drawing. Everybody check your orange tickets. This is 832618. The $50 prize.
Fernandez, Tordiglione blocked the
Fernandez on
hole,
the carry.
and then Henriksen bottled the play up.
He was tripped up
As
by
Fernandez
Tordiglione.
gains a yard,
For a
second
gain
and
of about a
9.
yard.
And
Once
let's
again,
meet
the
the Blue
winning
defense,
number
which has
for
had an
50 yards
outstanding season.
Is 8-3.
The Weymouth North defense. Nose tackle Sean Smalls had an excellent year. He recovered a big fumble against Marshfield. John Tordiglione has had an excellent year at defensive tackle. All Old Colony League performer Matt Deedy is the other tackle. While the defensive ends, Chris Ferrara, excellent pass rusher, has had a couple of sacks this year, as has the other defensive end, senior Ted Keefe. Both his sacks came against Hingham. Linebacker Lou Henriksen, another outstanding year. Second on the team in tackles behind the other linebacker, Alex Provost. Both linebackers just juniors. As far as the defensive backfield goes, David Layton, 2 interceptions this year. He also had a key fumble recovery against Taunton. Captain, cornerback Jason Capello with 2 interceptions this year. Safety Rich Mraz needs 1 interception to tie the Weymouth North career mark. And the other safety, sophomore Darren Gladstone, just getting better and better each week. Defensive end Jim Francis expected to see some action, as well as nose tackle Brian Collins. And look for defensive back Ed Norton in certain situations, and Dan Daly as well, to be used in a lot of situations on the Maroon defense.
Cella. Safe pass, intercepted, David Layton.
By David Layton.
The pass intended for Alan Gooden. Cella floated it out there, and Layton
David
stepped
Layton
into the
makes the
play.
interception for Weymouth North. The North will take over first and 10.
And the
on
turnovers
Weymouth South 31-yard
continue.
line.
As the turnover situation is now 5-3, Weymouth North committing more. Layton read the play perfectly, and this is a big point in the game. The Wildcats who are gaining the momentum. Mraz dives across the 30 to about the
Dives over the
28.
middle for a yard. Tripped up by Metcalf.
As Mraz has been contained very nicely. The Wildcat defense preventing Rich from going anywhere. As he got 2 on that play, 2nd and 8. And you talk about a big situation, because the Maroons, down 3-0, you've got to get themselves momentum and stop the Wildcat momentum as Henriksen bowls his way past the 25 to the
Off
24.
his right guard. Advances the ball another 4 yards.
As Stevenson looking to get his
Tackled by John
hands
DeCote.
wide,
It'll be 3rd
uses the
and
t-shirt
4.
of Chris Ferrara to do just
Ball
that.
resting right on the 25-yard
And a
line of
3rd
Weymouth
down.
South.
And the Maroons need to make it to the 21, just to the 21. Strazzeri. Caught by the ankles. Danny Dirksmeyer, who's had an outstanding game so far,
Dirksmeyer
caught him at the
tackle.
ankles, and Strazzeri
Short
gains about
gain.
1.
Brings up a 4th down.
5:28 to go, and the Maroons will be going for it.
4th and 3.
And they will take a
Timeout.
timeout
Weymouth
to
North.
discuss what they will do on this 4th down play. As we'll take a look back at a previous Thanksgiving Day game, similar to what we had as field conditions back in 1985. Sean Brennan directing traffic, as is coach Dick McPherson from the bench. Probably see Weymouth North go wide. It's Boudreau for the corner. Touchdown! And Weymouth South with a 1st and goal at the North 7. Sylvester gets smashed in a loose football. Weymouth North will get it. Jeff Daly comes up with a football. 41 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, and Weymouth North could put this out of reach as O'Malley gets away, and he does.
was straight ahead, and he just came through the pack.
4th and about 3. And the Maroons trailing by 3. Going for it. Double reverse. Strazzeri tries to turn the corner and early close. And I don't think he got it.
Brought down by Jeff Daney.
And the Wildcats, Danny Dirksmeyer and Joe Broderick, may have stopped that play.
And the officials will take timeout to measure.
And he is going to be about a foot short. As Strazzeri had to make about the 21.
John Brown made that tackle.
And that interception by David Layton, which set a new Weymouth North team record, may have been for naught. Wildcat football, they think they've got it, and they do. No doubt about it. They read that play.
South will take over on down.
As the Wildcats come up with the big defensive stand. So the Wildcats coming up with a big defensive stand. They'll start at their 22. Fernandez, nowhere.
Fernandez on the carry.
Bottles up. Fernandez, as Ronnie tried to get it outside.
John Small made the tackle.
And could not. Second down and 10.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 coming up. The ball on the 23-yard line.
4:50 to go, third period. And the Maroons right now trying to figure out what is going on. They thought they were the heavy favorites, but the Wildcats have said, hello, we're not going to roll over. We're going to come at you. Cella trying to turn the corner. JJ won't. Alex Provost and Lou Hendrickson, the 2 linebackers, preventing
Cella
from turning the corner.
Mr. Hendrickson and Chris Ferrara.
As the 2 linebackers came up and
No
made
gain
the tackle.
On the play. 3rd and 10 coming up.
3rd and 10. And a big 3rd and 10 because field position now going in favor of the Maroons. But the thing is, you have to take advantage of the field position, and the Maroons have not. The Wildcat defense preventing them from doing that. Chellup, Fernandez on the give, nowhere. As the Wildcats go to the same play.
Carry, brought down by Teddy Keith.
And the thinking from the Wildcats is the fact that
a loss of a yard on the play. It'll bring up 4th down and 11.
Not take any chances with a turnover, punt it away and rely on the defense, which has done the job so far, and Chad Moore to kick. 3:20 to go.
Strazzeri and Stevenson back to receive the punt.
And Moore lines it out. Stevenson fields it. Stevenson cutting back, gets away.
Stevenson on the return.
Brought down at the 43. As Stevenson almost turned the corner and took it upfield. But Alan Good prevented Tim Stevenson from doing that. And now the field position
on a very slippery field
is key. If you're a Weymouth North fan, you have to take advantage of it. For the Wildcats, you just keep holding on, and sooner or later, the Maroon spirit will be broken. Stevenson, Danny Lindblom to the 28.
Lindblom on the reception.
As Danny got into the seam of the zone and made the reception.
Dirksmeyer made the tackle. Enough for a first down.
Timmy Stevenson with a quick hitter.
Ball advanced to the 29-yard line of Weymouth South.
And the thing is, Weymouth North has had 2 or 3 plays, momentum, and then they don't get any more, and that's been the key. Flea flicker. Stevenson will run. Stevenson keeps going down to the 15, and Timmy Stevenson
25
almost broke it.
Joe Broderick.
As Joe Broderick finally brought down the Maroon quarterback.
Neil Stevenson
And you could
at the
hear
15-yard line.
offensive coordinator Kevin Cobbin
for Weymouth North.
yelling that he had a man open. But Stevenson didn't see the man open and still tucked it under his arms, took it downfield for a big gain of 13 first down. Strazzeri looking to turn the corner and doesn't. Joe Broderick
Joe Broderick made that
makes
tackle.
the tackle on Strazzeri, who gains a yard.
Broderick holds Stuzieri for a 1-yard gain.
2nd and 9.
2nd and 9.
As Strazzeri almost turning the corner, and Keith could not. It's Broderick, who has played a fine game, as Danny Dirksmeyer, Todd Cusick, the Wildcat defense, doing a very outstanding job. Bouncing inside the 10 to the 9 will be Lou Henriksen. As Henriksen brought down
Henriksen on the carry.
by Joe
Brought
Viola.
down by Dirksmeyer and Viola.
1:23 to go, 3rd period.
3rd down. 5 to go.
And about 5 for a first down, 9 for a touchdown.
Ball is on the 9-yard line.
Stevenson points out to Lindblom. Strazzeri
on the
to
carry.
the 6. 4th and 2.
John Brown made the tackle. Shot
As
gain.
John Brown
It'll bring
prevented
up a 4th
Strazzeri
down.
from getting any more yardage. And the last
4th
time in
and
this
3.
situation, the Maroons tried a little bit of trickery, double reverse, and it did not pay off. As they'll say, it's the 7-yard line. 38 seconds to go, 3rd period. Big play. Because sooner or later, the frustration will have to hit Weymouth North. Stevenson. Mirage turns the corner. Stevenson signals touchdown. Mirage does get it.
Richie Mirage brings it in from the 9-yard line.
Timmy Stevenson nearly slipped in running the option, but was able to get the pitch out to Rich Mirage, and the Maroon running back turned the corner and scores. As the Maroons come up with a 4th down touchdown, and Stevenson will look to add a big 7-point. And he does not. It'll go through
And
the end
kick
zone.
is incomplete.
That ball can be returned if you saw the Silver Lake game. Rich Mirage and the Maroons score a touchdown and take a 6-3 lead with 17 seconds to go in the 3rd period.
Seconds left to play in
And
the
the
3rd
Maroons
period.
scoring, but do not get the point after, so it is 6-3, 17 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. And that touchdown by Mirage on a 4th down play in the last 2 years, except for 1 touchdown in the last 2 years, they have been on 4th down plays. In 1987, of the 3 touchdowns scored in that game, 2 of the 3 were on 4th down plays. The winning touchdown was on a 3rd down play. And last year, all of the Maroon touchdowns and Wildcat touchdown were on 4th down plays. 4 touchdowns in all. And Stevenson hits it well. Allen Good Layton
Good.
runs good out at the 26.
Run out of bounds by David Layton.
And one more play possibly here in the third period. 11 seconds.
South
May
will
have
put the
two.
ball in play on their own 26-yard line.
As the Maroons,
And we're down to 11 seconds in the third period.
with a 6-3 lead, and a very, very hard-fought football game. As turnovers have been the story. Chella, dump off, Brown, his first reception of the year, and John collared at the 29
John
and
Brown on the
15
carry.
for the late hit.
Brought down by Alex Provost, but we have a flag on the play.
A late hit that was not what the Maroons wanted. After scoring a touchdown, the Wildcats love it because they can get some of the momentum that they lost back. And
Personal
clock
foul
says
being called
no
against
time
Plymouth
left in the third period.
Looks like a late hit.
As the late hit. And now it's being discussed as Brown got 5 on the play. And the 15 yards marked off against the Maroons. One
Early
statistic
advances the ball.
in 89
out
is
to
the fact that the
45-yard
Maroons
line.
in Weymouth North
It'll be first
history,
down.
or in fact Weymouth High School history, the most penalized team. As the third quarter comes to an end. Final 10 coming up. And it has been a very interesting game. 6-3, Weymouth North.
And that ends.
Every year, thousands of babies die from choking, suffocating, or other breathing emergencies. Just imagine how many of them could be saved if only they came with instructions. Please learn American Red Cross Infant and Child CPR. American Red Cross. We help you help others.
In the final 10 minutes of high school football in the 80s, and it's been a great decade, to say the least. J.J. Chella just floats one away as he was looking for Joe Broderick.
Pass goes incomplete to
And
Joe
David
Broderick.
Layton on the coverage.
Bring up the second down.
As the 80s, then we join you here at Dimension 36. Some great, great teams during this decade for Weymouth High School football. Really put on quite a show. As Chella pressured and goes down. John Tordiglione, Teddy Keefe, and Matt Deedy, along with Alex Provost, bring him
Looks like
down.
Alex Provost made the initial hit. He was helped by Tordiglione for a loss on the play.
Tordiglione and Keefe put
It'll
on
be third and
the pressure for the
17.
sack. But Keefe, but Provost and Deedy with here as well. To wrap up J.J. Chella, 3rd and 17. And the Wildcats in a situation where they're trying to pass the football in a field that is very slick. And delay of game, Weymouth South with 9:09 to go.
Delay of game called against Weymouth South.
Wave off the flag, apparently. Chella called timeout. J.J. Chella calls timeout. And it gives us an opportunity to take a look back at a previous Thanksgiving Day game. In fact, it was just a little under 365 days ago when this one was played. So the Maroons for the first big play of the game, 4th and 4 from the 14. Toss pitch, Barrasso to throw. Towards the end zone, wide open. Navarro, touchdown. Chella will throw his first varsity pass. Chella deep. Touchdown, Jimmy O'Connor. Stevenson looking the key. Get in there, Jimmy, get in there, get in there. Yes! Touchdown! We hope you've been enjoying this Thanksgiving Day football game here from Legion Field. Mark Ducharme with you. Also co-directors Dale Ketchum and Bob Tahosky. And it's been a wild football game, 6-3. As Chella on 3rd and 17, sets up the screen. Brown gets away from Provost, fumbles, and Weymouth North gets it.
Fumble on the play, recovered by Weymouth North.
Lou Henriksen falls on the football as John Brown
On the reception, fumbled the play.
just could not
the ball,
put
and
the
North
football
recovered.
away, and Henriksen falls on it. And the Maroons at the Wildcat 40.
And the ball will be put into play on the
And the
41
game
yard line
summary
of Weymouth South.
so far was the turnovers. And that is what got Weymouth South a 3-0 halftime advantage. But in the second half, the Maroons have been the stronger football team. Mirage turns the corner.
Mirage on the carry.
And gets knocked out of bounds at
Brought
about
down
the
by
31 as Cusick came from behind to bring down Mirage as Rich more than likely will not hit the 1,000-yard mark. And now apparently we have an injured player. And we will take a break.
We're going to measure.
Or check that they'll measure. They will measure. But we're talking about Mirage maybe not getting the 1,000 yards this year, but it has to be pointed out as far as Rich does go, that there were about 4 or 5 games that he did not play the second half. And the Maroons have a first down. For this Wildcat defense, this could be the time of the game where they have to come up with the big plays, because the offense has not been able to come up with the points, and they had some opportunities earlier. If they had been able to, this could have been a much different game at this point. Henriksen
over the middle.
bowls his way to the 26.
Not by the center of the south line.
As Henriksen
Viola
will be a big weapon in the final 8:25.
7.
As the Maroons will try to take as much time as they can on this drive and ice the game that way. As Mirage
on the carry.
turns the corner, and Rich gets to the 22. Todd Cusick brings him down. As Mirage, Cusick in their final quarter of football, high school football that is, and they have had great careers, the two of them. As Mirage got 2 on the play, 3rd and 4.
Which ticket? No, it was on an orange ticket, wrong color ticket. Yeah.
And a discussion with Joe Broderick Apparently there was a penalty on
I
Weymouth
think
North.
somebody claimed it, yeah.
Legal motion, the Maroons decline. Third and about 4. As the season
3rd and 4.
winding down, 8 minutes to go. Big 3rd and 4. Miraz bangs his way inside the 20 to about the 18, and that will be a first down. Danny Dirksmeyer.
Dirksmeyer in on that tackle.
Todd Cusick and Mike Regan are all over there. And it's been Dirksmeyer, Cusick,
First down.
that have played outstanding games. They have been in on numerous tackles. If you look for MVPs in a game like this, those two have to be near the top of their list. Miraz.
Over his right tackle.
Inside the 15 to the 14.
Made the tackle.
As the Wildcat defense
Second
trying to
and
hang
6.
on.
Ball is just inside the 15-yard line.
One last stand they want to create. Henriksen to about the
Henderson
11.
Stopped by Viola for a shot gain.
As Joe Viola caught Henriksen by the shoe tops and brought him down.
3rd down.
6:40 to
Going for
go.
the first down.
3. Stevenson gives to Miraz, straight through to the 6.
Miraz on the carry.
And it'll be first and goal for the Maroons with
Dirksmeyer
6:22
made the tackle.
to go. And the Maroons may be wearing out the Wildcats.
First
And the
down.
Wildcats sense it and take time out. They
Ball
want to
is on
find a
the
way to
8-yard
stop the
line.
Maroon offense, which has
Timeout,
been during the
Weymouth South.
season a high-powered offense, but the Wildcats, for the most part in this game, have made the Maroons earn any yard that they have gotten. 6-3, Weymouth North, 6:18 left. First and goal with 6:18 left, and the Maroons leading by 3, looking to put it distance-wise.
Miraz up the middle.
As far as this game goes, Miraz to the 2.
Joe Viola on the tackle.
And you will see the Maroons concentrate maybe on trying to set up Miraz, who, if he does get a touchdown, will break
Gain of 4.
Barry
It's 2nd and 4.
Barrasa's single-season mark. And there you see record-setting touchdown for Rich Miraz, as he congratulates his offensive lineman.
Over the 100-point
As Miraz has gone over the 100-point mark and gets an ovation. A dive play off tackle, and Miraz scoring. And Rich breaks Barry Barrasa's mark, which was set last year, 100 points. And the senior running back may not get his 1,000 yards in this game, but he does, however, get a record that is quite an accomplishment. As Miraz adds to it.
Miraz, 2 points.
106
Rich
points
Miraz,
for Rich
115.
Miraz this year. And number 14 has got all the Maroon points. And that is what they have in this game, 14. 14-3 with 5:47 left. As you look at the Weymouth North drive, that has got them a 11-point lead with 5:47 left. And a record-setting touchdown as far as Weymouth North football goes, and Rich Miraz setting a new single-season scoring mark, 106 points he has at the present time. And Barry Barassa is here to witness it. As Barry, a great career at Weymouth North, and he began even a great career at UNH. As Broderick gets an opening, and he is deadly on kickoff returns to the 45.
Broderick on the run back, pushed out of bounds.
As Alex Provost and Lou Hendrickson, but Joe Broderick
run back
in the Silver Lake game got the Wildcats going with a superb kickoff return to begin the second half. Gets it to the 47. And the Wildcats
South will put the ball in play on their own 47-yard line.
Left.
We have 5:38 left to play in the game.
Have got to make something happen and quickly. And now the Maroons apparently only have 10 on the field.
Weymouth North.
For the Wildcats, they're going to try in the final 5:38 to make something happen. 14-3, Weymouth North. Three, two. The Wildcats. 5:38 left. 1st and 10 from the 47. Chella with Norton chasing him. Intercepted, Teddy Keefe! Touchdown, Teddy Keefe!
Teddy Keefe. A lineman's dream. Teddy Keefe intercepts the ball and runs it back 47 yards for a touchdown.
And Bill Jackson, the public address announcer, put it right. The lineman's dream, and Teddy Keefe just stepped in front of the J.J. Chella pass, and he just grabbed it and took off, and the Maroons will be hit with a penalty, or check it. Let's see who the penalty is on. It could be on the Maroons for delay after celebrating the touchdown. But Teddy Keefe will always dream of that one.
Boy, the boy that intercepted that pass, ladies and gentlemen, won the Athletic Council Scholar Athlete Award the other night at the banquet. He ranked 2nd in his class at Weymouth North.
And a light chant of Teddy as the touchdown. It is going to be penalty. It was on Weymouth North on sportsmanlike conduct. And it's on Weymouth North. They'll be taking on the kickoff. As the Maroons may have just
dead ball foul after the touchdown call
laid in the final shot on this one with that interception by Teddy Keefe.
At the next kickoff.
Mraz will not add to his total
on the carry.
As Danny Dirksmeyer tripped him up,
and
then Joe Viola put him down, and the Maroons defensive end Teddy Keefe gives them a 17-point lead with 5:27 left. 5:27 left, and Teddy Keefe intercepts a J.J. Chella pass, and it is for the Maroons something that they're quite used to. An interception return for a touchdown. As Stevenson bounces it. Allen, good, check it, Broderick. Nice return to the 49 of Weymouth North. But it is something that the Maroons are quite used to, is returning kicks or passes for touchdowns, interceptions, that is.
The ball will be
Rich Mraz has done it twice. Danny Daly has done it. Alex Provost did it in the first week, and now the 5th man to do it in Ted Keefe. So the defensive line, which has had an outstanding year, comes up with a big play. Shella, quick pass, Layton gets it to the 39, and Bobby, a very dangerous receiver throughout the year, had been quiet as far as catching passes until now, as Layton, every time he puts his hands on the football, has gone for nearly 20 yards on a reception. And the Maroon fans off to the right, we're starting the serenade. As Chella looking to set the screen. Batted down. Alex Provost read it perfectly. And Alex knocked it away from John Brown. Alex at 6'2". John Brown also about 6 foot, 6'1". But Provost got the better jump on the football, and the Maroon defense has played an outstanding game, and that has really been the reason that the Wildcats, who had those great chances in the first half, did not come up with a larger lead than 3-0. And really, it is the story of the game. If the Wildcats were able to, it could have been a lot different. As Chella, Brown, forget it. Provost again.
Pass complete to
Levels, John Brown.
Knocked down by Provost. Didn't I just say that with the last play?
Alex Provost. He and Lou Henriksen returned for another year at linebacker. And they lead the Maroons in tackles, but they're always around the football as far as making things happen. Third and 11. Chella runs out of time. Can't get away from Eddie Norton as Norton brings him down at the 37.
Keller on the carry. Brought down by Eddie Norton.
3:45 left, 4th and 9 for the Wildcats.
It'll be 4th and 9.
Have to come up with the big play to maintain possession. 3:25 and counting, and the crowd starting to file out. It was a great crowd considering. And they saw a very entertaining game. Chella tried to hit Cusick and Alex Provost.
Pass broken up by Provost.
And Darren Gladstone on the coverage. Break it up.
And North will take over.
With 3:05 left, and that could have just ended it. And the Maroons, unless they make a couple of big mistakes, will go to 9-1. The Wildcats 1-9. But the 9th Maroon win was not easy. The Wildcats came to play and made things happen as Miraz brought down by Cusick at the 40-yard line.
On the carry.
And Miraz and Cusick exchange pleasantries.
Cusick made the tackle.
As Cusick, who's had an outstanding year at linebacker. And now as we head to the final game of the 80s, as flag down on Weymouth North, possibly center Billy Murphy moving the football. Procedure, Maroons.
Illegal procedure called against Weymouth North.
But this game will be the final game, at least for a little while, when the two teams being in the same league. Next year, the Pilgrim Conference, the Maroons in the Old Colony League, the Wildcats in the South Shore Large. So it'll take a different meaning. As Strazzeri will be here next year
On the carry,
this
brought
game,
down by Dirksmeyer.
almost breaking it, and Danny Dirksmeyer, who's had an outstanding game.
3rd and 1.
You look at Dirksmeyer, Cusick, who have had great games on defense for the Wildcats. As those two in their final game, and something Ronnie Fernandez said as his team was coming out on the field is like, let's remember this game, as Henriksen and Rich Mraz came flying through the pack.
Henderson on the carry, brought down
And
by
will get
Viola.
nailed for an personal foul.
And flags on the play.
As Mraz losing a little bit of cool. And the personal foul on Weymouth North. As it appeared, Henriksen had the first down.
Personal foul called against North.
And that being a dead ball foul. It'll be 1st and 25, as apparently the Maroons had the first down, which is the bad break as far as the Wildcats go. But the personal foul will be marked off and make it 1st and 25. And the Maroons don't care about the first and whatever yardage. They just are fighting the clock, which is 1:43 left. And I believe what they're explaining to Weymouth North coach Joe Kelly is if Mraz has been ejected.
Personal foul called against North.
As referee Frank Niles over to talk to the Maroon head coach. And I believe we get 2 personal fouls on Weymouth North. Sort of part of the season being depicted for the Maroons, who have been penalized a great deal. As we've said during the broadcast, they have set new records as far as penalty yardage does go for a Weymouth team. .134 left in the season. The Maroons will go to 9-1. And will marvel at what has been a great season, but unfortunately for them, will be the fact of one bad half against Plymouth. As Mraz's heir apparent, Darren Gladstone, gets bumped out of bounds by Mike Regan.
Pushed out of bounds by Mike Regan.
1:16 left, 2nd down, and a long, long ways to go as Gladstone got about 6 of the 40 yards needed.
Gain of 7 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 33.
But right now it becomes to the situation you look towards next year. New leagues for both these teams. Maroons up with Barnstable, Falmouth joining the league along with old rivals Plymouth and Silver Lake and the Quincy's. Strazzeri, Mark O'Connor brings him down.
on the carry.
For the Wildcats, still seeing new competition. The Middleboroughs, the Whitman Hansons, and the Duxburys of the world.
Viola and Gallery made the tackle.
But what they will also see is still these two teams is Thanksgiving Day when they see each other. And no matter if they're coming from different leagues, it will still be a good football game. Gladstone gets whacked by Cusick.
Gladstone on the carry.
Todd Cusick
Cusick made the tackle.
has played this game
Brings up a
from
4th
cover
down.
to cover, and he is letting everybody know that he is going to come out in this last game and make it happen as Maroon and Gold being struck up, and the Maroons are about to win their 3rd straight over the Wildcats. As the final seconds tick down, Weymouth North will celebrate a 20-3 victory, but it was not easy because the Wildcats played outstanding football and they just basically got worn out. And the Maroons basically got the offense going with some good field position in the second half. 2 Rich Mirage touchdowns and Teddy Keefe with a pass interception for a touchdown, as that was the scoring in this one. And the Maroons defeat the Wildcats 20-3. The Wildcats realistically never able to take advantage of some excellent field position and cash in on it in the first half, and that is what hurt them. It prevented them from really making something
Folks, if
happen.
we could have the captain of Weymouth North and the
It prevented
North
them
team for the
from really,
presentation of the
instead of a
Bates Church
3-0
trophy
lead, having
to
a
the
much
winner of
larger
this,
lead.
Annual Thanksgiving Day Classic.
As they will present the Frank Bates Award to the winning team, and Captain Jason Capello is about to receive the award. As the Maroons will finish at 9-1, the Wildcats 1-9. And quite a year for Weymouth North, as the Maroons had to struggle for this one. The Wildcats came to play.
Representatives of the Weymouth High School Athletic Council.
And the
are now
Wildcats
presenting the Bates Trophy to the
told
Weymouth
the
North
Maroons
team as
that if you're
winners
going to
of
win
the
game number
Thanksgiving
9,
Day
you got to earn it.
game. This trophy will remain at Weymouth North
And there
High
are a
School
lot of
for this coming year.
MVPs you can pick for this
And we'll
one.
see what
Weymouth South
happens
had
next
outstanding
year
performances
at this Thanksgiving Day
from Todd Cusick,
game.
Danny
We
Dirksmeyer,
also
to name a
understand
couple
that
of
someone has
people.
started a collection up to buy a pair of pants for Tony Manzelli.
As for the Maroons, you can also look for some people for MVP honors from the defensive side of the football.
And there it is, folks.
The entire defense. As the Maroons will celebrate a 20-3 victory. Alex Provost, one of those people you could admire. Lou Henriksen, another, for an MVP. And, well, they just look at the trophy as the Maroons came out with a big second half in order to defeat the Wildcats 20-3. The season has come to an end football-wise here at Legion Field. It has been a wild and crazy season in a lot of ways, but it's been a fun season. For Director Bob Tahosky and Co-Director Dale Ketchum, I'm Mark Ducharme. I'm glad you joined us. The Maroons with a second half, where they did not turn the ball over after turning it over 5 times in the first half, come back to beat the Wildcats 20-3. We hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. Good night from Legion Field.